Welcome to Formula One. Welcome to race day here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. The grandstands are filling up nicely, and there was a real buzz around the paddock this morning that today's race could be a cracker. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. Joining me on this very wet day is a man who's no stranger to driving in miserable conditions. Anthony Davidson, you've driven open cockpit, you've driven sports cars. How does the wet weather experience change between the different disciplines?
Well, I wouldn't say there's much difference in all honesty. You know, besides the terrifying closing speeds you find in sports cars with the different categories all sharing the same track, driving in the rain is, well, driving in the rain. Of course, the biggest difference between the two is the closed cockpit versus the open cockpit. You get the luxury of staying dry in the sports car, but if your screen ever gets dirty, well, that's a pit stop, not just wiping your visor or pulling away a tear off. But most of the time, you know, they're both as miserable as each other, to be honest.
Right, let's be patient going into turn one. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo and Raikkonen, Verstappen, Massa, Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz, Kvyat, Perez, Jenson Button and Alonso, Palmer, Grosjean, Esteban Gutierrez and Kevin Magnussen, Ericsson and Nasser, Pascal Wehrlein and Rio Haryanto completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. A great win then for the Mercedes team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Well, lots of drivers impressed me here today, Crofty, but I'd say the one who impressed me the most was Esteban Gutierrez.
It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time, though, goodbye.
Built on the public roads around an artificial lake, Albert Park. The Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir first hosted a... There's nothing like dancing a Formula One car between the barriers of Monte Carlo, be it the fast left at Tabac or the technical twists of the Rascasse. The Circuit de Monaco is the ultimate test. There's nothing like dancing a Formula One car between the barriers.
Welcome to one of the most iconic race circuits on the Formula One calendar. It's tight, it's tricky, and there's absolutely no room for error. We're getting ready for lights out here in Monte Carlo. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today, though, ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the races. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way you approach those roles?
Interesting question, Crofty. They're two very different mindsets. I mean, when I tested for BAR, we had full in-season testing where, per driver, you'd cover up to 15,000 kilometres per season. And in that role, it was more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as you could, so that that data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When you're lining up on the grid for a race, however, your frame of mind's all about what you can get out of the situation on that day, and the car's the tool to help you achieve what you want. You still want to focus on the setup, of course, but it's more about the here and now, getting yourself as far up the field as possible, and less about development work for the future.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Nico Rosberg completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Felipe Massa and Ricciardo, Perez, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg and Daniel Kvyat, Button, Bottas, Fernando Alonso and Grosjean, Sainz, Magnussen, Esteban Gutierrez and Pascal Wehrlein, Palmer and Harry Anto, Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Nasser starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Great stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Well, my driver of the day was Nico Hülkenberg. He did a cracking job moving through the field and just highlighting why he's so highly rated in the paddock.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.